So my today's video is about my complaint regarding Mahindra Holidays, which sells timeshare membership. Let me explain to you what does a timeshare mean. A concept is very good. In this, you purchase a membership for 25 years, 10 years, or could be even lesser, and you are assured by the company normally 1 week of holiday for every year of the membership. So basically, going on a holiday involves two things. One is booking accommodation at the destination, and second is making your travel arrangements. So one can safely assume that if accommodation is assured at the destination, then you can always make your travel arrangements and go on a holiday even at short notice. Most of us who are either working or in business are not able to plan 3 to 4 months in advance, and many times we get a chance to holiday at a short notice. Therefore, this kind of membership appeared to be very good. In the marketing pitch by the agents of Club Mahindra, we were assured that we will be able to holiday anywhere, north, east, south, west within the country, as well as we could go on large number of international destinations once we joined this membership. And in good faith, on the assurances given, as well as various declarations that Club Mahindra had made in their draft red herring prospectus in 2007, they had said that members will be given first priority. The membership will be sold only to the number of resorts that they have available, and members will always come before non-members. Based on these assurances, I decided to purchase the membership, and I made a down payment of 37,000 rupees and filled up a form. The application form contained about 15 terms and conditions, out of which one stated that the accommodation will be subject to eligibility and availability. On being queried, the agents stated that what eligibility meant was accommodation will be given to you in your season. I bought a white studio apartment, and they also stated that I can even book in the red season, which is a season higher, and the booking can be done only 15 days in advance. And as regards availability, they stated that whenever either there is a strike or the resort is down for maintenance, on such occasions the rooms may not be available. However, this was a very rare contingency. Based on these assurances and in good faith, I purchased the membership. And after about a week, I received a welcome letter which stated that I will receive a membership kit within 15 to 20 days. And subsequently, after about a month, I got a welcome letter from the company which contained about 15 to 20 pages, printed pages, including various brochures of resorts and so on, and about 4 to 5 pages containing 105 rules that were printed in a very small size, which governed the usage of the membership. Subsequently, when I tried to book accommodation through the call center, most of the times the call center employees used to state that the accommodation was not available for the given resort. And also they used to suggest that if I am booking a room in Goa, they used to say that now accommodation is not available in Goa, we suggest that you go to Shimla. So obviously this kind of a proposal was not workable. If one wants to go to Kerala or Goa, you can't replan and go to Darjeeling or Shimla. Thereafter, sometime in 2009, the company introduced an online booking system, and I was quite relieved that I could book the accommodation in a transparent manner. When you book a movie hall on Book My Show, you basically get to see the diagram of the movie hall, and the booking system states that there are 500 seats in the movie hall. Out of 500 seats, 300 are booked, which are shown in red color, and 200 which are still available are in green, and you just click on the seat, you select the seat and make the payment, and thereafter your booking is concerned. So here, when we had made 100% advance payment for 25 years, it was our reasonable expectation to see the total number of rooms in a resort and to see as to how many were vacant and choose a room of our choice. The booking system in Club Mahindra Holidays was only showing as to whether a room is available or it is waitlisted or fully booked. It was not possible to know as to there are how many rooms in the resort and also as to how many of them were booked. Subsequently, I found in most of the years that the rooms were never available and there was always a waiting list. So obviously, if the accommodation at the destination is not confirmed, one could not book your tickets also. And that's how I found that the entire purpose of purchasing this membership was not being achieved. And then came the pandemic in 2020, during which most of the resorts were closed for a good about 8 to 9 months. The other promise that had been made by Club Mahindra was one had to pay a maintenance charge every year, which is known as annual subscription fees, ASF for short. And at the time of signing up of the membership, it was stated that there could be a minor increment in the maintenance charges. When I joined the membership, at that time the annual maintenance fees, that is the ASF, was rupees 6,000, and by 2020 it had come to around 16,000. And the company used to always state that because of increase in inflation, the fees have been increased proportionately. And it stated that the fees were revised based on the average of the consumer price index and the wholesale price index. Since during the pandemic, for most of the times the resorts were closed, I made a request to the company to cut down on the maintenance charges by at least 50%, which in my opinion was a very reasonable request, because if nothing else, the company would have accrued substantial savings on electricity charges, on day-to-day maintenance, and the construction activity and maintenance activity too was closed for the entire year. Therefore, I made such a request, but the company refused to explain to me, and also they said that the maintenance charges cannot be reduced. Then naturally I asked the company to give me the details of the expenditure which has been incurred on maintenance, wherein the company stated that all its accounts have been audited and they are in the open domain and I should take a look at the accounts of the company. At this stage, I thought that probably I was one of the few unsatisfied members. But when I took to social media, I soon realized that there were hundreds and thousands of people who had large number of complaints. And on the Facebook, there were various groups. One group was 50,000 members, one group was 20,000 members, and they all basically had three kinds of complaints. They said that the rooms were never available. The second thing, they said that the rooms were being sold to non-members and the maintenance charges were very high, and also the food prices were astronomically high. Therefore, just about when the pandemic was coming to an end, I decided to examine all the documents of the company in open domain, and to my horror, I realized that the company had been grossly violating the accounting standards which have been specified. Now, here let me explain what are accounting standards without getting too technical. My understanding of accounting standards is based on the good old principles we used to follow in the army. For example, we had a rum and cigarette allowance in the army, and the income from rum and cigarette allowance was permitted to be expended only in the rum and cigarettes, which was given as a comfort to the troops in forward areas, and it could not be blown up to buy furniture or any other thing. Similarly, when we pay school fees, the school raises an itemized bill wherein they state what is the computer fee, what is the laboratory fee, what is the examination fee, what is the sports fee, and so on. And it is needless to state that examination fees cannot be diverted to purchase furniture or to conduct parties in the school. This very principle is incorporated in segment reporting. So basically, the segment reporting states that whenever the income of a company can be distinctly identified and the expenditure also can be distinctly identified, this cannot be mixed with other types of income, and this has to be reported as a segment. The other place where I found that the auditors had not done their job was a large number of rooms were being sold to non-members, whereas the members had paid 25 years advance, and the same very rooms which were shown as waitlisted for us were available on booking.com, on agoda.com, and a large number of other places. Not only this, the rooms were open for conduct of weddings also and for corporate events, and many members, when they were holidaying, they found that a major portion of the resort was blocked for corporate clients, and for members it was being shown as non-available, or it had been sold out for weddings. And obviously it was very clear that when the members are paying for the maintenance, somebody else is utilizing the resorts in a major way. Therefore, after analyzing the documents and the annual reports filed by the company in detail, I filed a complaint with the National Financial Reporting Authority. Basically, there were three issues which were raised in the complaint. Number one was the oversale of membership. How it was supposed to work is the Ministry of Tourism guidelines state that if a company is having 100 rooms and there are only 52 weeks in a year, so the membership can be sold only to 5,200 members. So accordingly, the sale of membership was required to be restricted to the number of apartments available. However, my research indicated that the membership had been oversold rather, to an extent of close to 3 to 4 times. And since most of the figures were not known, the exact details of how much is the amount of oversale could have been even 4 to 5 times also. The second issue I red flagged was that whereas every year the company is reflecting income from the ASF, that is the maintenance charge, but correspondingly how much is the expenditure incurred on ASF has not been declared. For example, the ASF cannot be used by advertisements by the company. The ASF cannot be used to pay salaries of the directors and the corporate employees of the company. This was the agreement which was made with the members. Whereas, and here in the annual accounts, there was no separate accounting of the expenditure of the ASF. So that was the second issue. And the third issue which was red flagged was the mass sale of rooms to non-members. How dare the auditors not check this kind of a thing? And by auditors, I mean both the internal auditors as well as the external auditors of the company. Thus, with these three main issues, I filed a complaint with the NFRA on 28th of May 2021. Of course, the NFRA did take their time to analyze my complaint and to come to a conclusion. And finally, sometime in March this year, the NFRA called for a hearing. I am indeed very grateful to the NFRA for giving me a detailed hearing. The chairperson and the entire board heard me for more than 3 hours, and they also gave same amount of time, or rather double the amount of time, to the Mahindra Holidays to state their position and their say. And after having heard both the parties, the NFRA has passed an order which is available on their website nfra.gov.in. To read the order, go to the NFRA website and there is a separate section on orders. Go to this section and navigate to 29th of March 2023, wherein you will find a detailed order. NFRA has stated in no uncertain terms that the accounting by Club Mahindra Holidays has been found to be deficient. I shall just read out certain extracts from the order. If you go to paragraph 14 of the order states, we are of the view that some of these statements by Mahindra Holidays, that is, no separate resources are allotted for non-members, which they have called as FIT, that is, free inward travelers. Then the operating results of non-members are not regularly reviewed by the board, and no discrete information pertaining to expenses of non-members is available. And these statements appear to be extraordinary, raising questions about the accounting systems put in place by Mahindra Holidays. Thereafter, in the same paragraph, the NFRA states, it is difficult to understand why a listed company that like Mahindra Holidays, which is expected to proactively disclose information to improve the transparency of its accounts, should be consistently resisting requests of its members for additional disclosures. I think these two lines say it all. Basically, the company was required to report the expenditure on maintenance separately. And first of all, the sale to non-members was not permitted. And even if there was any sale to non-members, that should have come after the members and it should have been reported separately. This was a major violation of the principle of operating segments in the accounting standards which has been formed by NFRA, and the role of the chief operating decision maker of Mahindra Holidays is more than clear in this. The order further goes on to say in paragraph 20, despite being specifically asked if the chief operating decision maker had applied the parameters of operating segments to the two distinct categories, that is members and non-members, Mahindra Holidays had not produced any verifiable evidence apart from stating that revenue from non-members cannot be considered as a separate segment. In the process, Mahindra Holidays had made certain sweeping statements that would seem to defy prudent or even business sense. These statements raise question about the way the business is operated and the way the accounts are kept by Mahindra Holidays. And mind you, the auditors of the company were supposed to check all this, and now one can well imagine what the auditors were doing when all this was happening. Further on, in paragraph 30, the order goes on to state, therefore, in this regard, the reporting of Mahindra Holidays is found deficient in application of Ind AS 108, which is the accounting standard for segment reporting. It also states that Mahindra Holidays has not produced any evidence of testing the criteria of operating segments as per Ind AS 108 on these potential segments. And in conclusion, the NFRA has given the following directions to Mahindra Holidays. Number one, Mahindra Holidays should proactively review its accounting policies. Number two, it should report to the auditor the review, and such review by the auditor should be completed by 31st of July 2023. And number three, both Mahindra Holidays and its statutory auditor, PSR and company, should report separately to NFRA regarding the results of such a review, and subsequent directions will be issued by NFRA. So, with all this, what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is the auditors are your guardians of your money. The same thing is applicable even in the construction industry. If a builder is constructing as well as maintaining property, he is supposed to maintain a separate account for your maintenance funds. And the segment reporting has got application in most of the places. That is, I gave the example of schools and colleges, of builders and many other places where the consumers are buying service. So be very vigilant as to how your money is being handled by the corporates and how the auditors are auditing it. It is your right to demand a copy of the expenditure and go through the audit. And in case anybody requires any assistance, my good offices will always be available to provide any such assistance. And I exhort most of the consumers who are stuck in the construction industry with various builders to also carry out due diligence as regards as the accounting and auditing of their money. And the next question is what next for Mahindra Holidays? In my opinion, they are required to entirely segregate the rooms which are meant to be given to members. They are meant to clearly tell the members as to what is their right to their rooms and keep the entire booking of these rooms separately for the members, and also keep the entire accounts of the money which has been utilized and spent on maintenance. And this kind of exercise is required to be done for the previous 10 years, whereas they have been consistently violating the segment reporting. And it's needless to say that the law of the land will take its own course. The members have their own legal remedies, and so does Mahindra Holidays. So let the law of the land prevail. On this note, I sign out. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.